Okay. Wait. I'm not even sure I'm connected. Okay. Hello. How are you? There seems to be a bit of technical issues on my side, but I'm hoping that it gets better. I'm hoping that it gets better. Uh, it feels so good to be here. After a whole while, I'm so happy to be back. So hello to you, beautiful abundant woman. Say hi as soon as you're able to join me. Um, I hope you haven't forgotten me. It's been a while since I've been here. But yeah, I am so happy to be back. I am so happy to be doing this money medicine 4-part series that we're going to be embarking on for the next 4 weeks, where we are going to be talking generational wealth. And it's a very multi-layered topic, very broad, very multi-layered. So today we are going to be exploring generational trauma, right? Generational trauma, how it's currently influencing our money as business women, how it's currently influencing how we show up in our businesses, for you, the spiritual entrepreneur. So I really hope it's going to be very helpful for you as we explore this. Engage with me. Also share with me your revelations as we explore this topic. Share with me your revelations. Share with me what comes up for you, as we'll be talking generational trauma. And hopefully you will not be triggered. But if you are, do inbox me and we can just share a moment where I can possibly hold space for you and maybe let you know what you can do to calm yourself down. Okay? Please do say hi. Let me know you are here. It's good to be here. I have missed this space. Although I did enjoy my rest, I did miss being here. Okay? All right. So, yeah. So, generational wealth. I was talking to a friend of mine and she was like, oh, no, fine. Sometimes I feel like when we speak of generational wealth, I feel like it's too far-fetched. Like it doesn't even include me because I am out here trying to make my own money in the first place. And at times I wonder, do I even have anything to offer my children or the next generation if I feel like I am struggling, how do I even get to be thinking about generational wealth right now as a young woman in my business? And it really did make sense, why her perspective and where she's coming from. But I feel like that's more reason for us to be talking about this and exploring and expanding what this really means, right? Hello, Liliano. I hope I'm saying your name right. Hi, thank you for being here. Okay, right. So when we talk about generational wealth, basically, for me, my own definition of generational wealth is that I get to pass on not just wealth in terms of assets or financial assets or tangible assets, but I get to pass on my new belief systems. I get to pass on my values. I get to pass on my teachings, my relationships to the next generation, just so that they can be in a better space to truly create their lives from a more conscious place, right? So someone else may speak of generational wealth and talk about it from the perspective of it's basically us. It's the process of moving financial assets from one generation to the next, and that is very true. But I challenge you to, when you think of generational wealth, give it a broader perspective. This lessens the weight of you feeling like I have nothing to really pass on, because maybe I don't have the millions yet, I don't have the real estate yet, there is already so much that you yourself as a woman on this path, as an abundant woman, can be doing or can be preparing in order for you to leave your bloodline in a better position to be able to actually accumulate wealth and build wealth and create wealth. So yeah, let me just leave you with that, so that you relax more into this topic. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about generational trauma, right? Generational trauma in relation to money and business. Yeah. When we speak of generational trauma, basically we're saying there are certain events that occurred decades before in your bloodline. Certain events that happened to your ancestors. And because of those events, they impacted your bloodline. They impacted how your ancestors got to have, got to cope with life. They impacted that understanding. And because of that, you are also impacted because that is what you received from your ancestors. So generational trauma moves through generations because certain events occurred in the past, way before we were born, right? Certain events happened to our ancestors, and we are currently feeling the impact of those events, right? So if we were to look at it from a financial perspective, let's explore an example. An example where your ancestor was able to accumulate wealth, right? In your lineage, at some point, your ancestor was able to accumulate wealth. And what happened is that in them accumulating wealth, by the time they pass on, they then left the wealth to some of their family members, way before you were born, right? And it just so happens that in leaving this wealth, you can imagine back in the days, especially for black lineages or people of color, we didn't know much about writing a will. We didn't know so much about trust funds. We didn't know how to actually pass on wealth, right? And most of the time, it got lost or it lost its value throughout the lineages for those of us who were even able to create wealth, right? So in this example, let's explore a situation where this ancestor has left their wealth, has managed to accumulate some form of wealth. It can be, for a lot of us, it would have been wealth in the form of cattle, right? Because most of our ancestors were farmers. Or it could even be a house. And in leaving behind those that remained behind to benefit from this wealth, they then fight over it simply because there was no direction into how exactly, or guidance on how exactly is this to be divided. This is a very common example when it comes to a lot of African families and wealth. There are a lot of family conflicts that were created because of there being any form of wealth in the family, right? Especially if through inheritance, where there was something that members had a chance to share, and it created conflicts, it created division. Some got to a point where they no longer talk to each other. Some got to a point where they no longer trust that even my own siblings can have my back or can support me, right? That event on its own, because because of how it gets to impact the people who remain behind, we can mark it as a trauma. The response of those family members, one dividing, having conflicts, fighting over this wealth, and not trusting that others will have their interests at heart. I give this example because there is a certain way that the African lineages have been affected, or have always experienced generational wealth and trauma. I'll give you this example. One of the biggest things, or the biggest issues for us around generational trauma and money, is that we do not feel safe to have money. We do not feel safe around money and wealth. We do not feel safe even in accumulating wealth. And this is why it's always, if I am to have money, I will be recognized. Or if I am to create wealth, I will be recognized. And in being recognized, I will be exposed. And once I am exposed, I will be attacked. I will be recognized. Once recognized, I will be exposed, and once I'm exposed, I will be attacked because of money, because of wealth. The impact of there being generational trauma, the impact of certain events that are associated with wealth in our lineages has led to us creating or feeling this form of unsafety when it comes to creating wealth, and it looking like whenever we think of money, whenever we think of accumulating in our businesses, our deepest fear is that I will be recognized, exposed, and attacked. Now I want to bring it to you right now in your business, right? As a woman who is currently creating wealth in your business, currently accumulating wealth and creating money, how do you resonate with the idea that you could possibly actually make the money? How does it make you feel right now whenever you think my business in my business, what would happen if I was to actually have the money that I want? If I was to actually create the wealth that I want? What is the first instinct that comes to you, right? When you picture that you could actually make money in your business. Okay, so we skip the part where you're not making money. We actually go to the part where you have actually created the money in your business. It's there. You have it. You have accumulated the wealth. You have the assets. How does that make you feel? What are the thoughts that runs through you when you think possibly, or when you visualize this timeline where you have actually created money? I want us to explore that. Right? I want us to explore how you'd actually feel if right now you were to create the money that you truly want in your business and have the wealth and the assets, everything, the way you want it. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. You can sit with this, or just let me know what comes up for you when you actually visualize right now that everything that you have been desiring, wanting, the money that you've been wanting to make, right? If you've been desiring to make 10,000 a month, or 100,000 a month, or 1 million a year, let's skip to the timeline where you actually have created that money, where you actually have created the wealth that you're always dreaming of. How do you feel? What is the instant feeling that comes to you when you picture that you have actually arrived and done all these things, like you're this super rich, successful woman? If you were to wake up and you are in this timeline, if you've actually conquered it all, you have managed to create the money that you want, clients are always paying you on time, they're giving you the money, you've actually created the life that you've been wanting to create, the money that you want is literally sitting in your bank account. When you skip into that timeline, right, what are some of the fears or feelings that come up for you when you think of this timeline where you've actually had it all, where you actually have everything? Right? Okay. So, while you chew on that, while you think about that, yeah. So while you think of this timeline when you have actually made it and have had the money, I'll explore with you then some of the feelings that may come up, right? For me, what has really come up when I do the inner work and explore this life that I truly want, which is to be successful, to, be able to own a multi-millionaire company and have the real estate, support my family, the way I want to support them, sponsor my kids to do whatever they want, be creative as much as they want, be able to empower other women to go into business and liberate from themselves. The feelings that come up, first, it looks like the most exciting thing. For me as a woman, it feels like this is so exciting. But then, beneath the excitement and seeing the beauty, there's this deep-seated fear that if I'm to create that life, I might struggle to find a partner that truly loves me, that can marry me and have kids with me and actually be happy with me. There's an automatic response towards me actually creating this life through my business and having the money that I want. And one of those responses is that, yes, although it's exciting, the fear that comes up for me is that I may struggle to find a partner that is truly, into me and loves me and wants forever with me. The dream, the dream relationship that every girl fantasizes about. Right? Now, you may ask yourself, how does this relate? How does she think of a man and marriage and a relationship while she's supposed to be probably excited about this timeline where she's actually made the money that she wants and everything is like perfect when it comes to money and business? Okay. Now, let's rewind. You see this deep-seated fear that I myself have explored, and in doing inner work have realized that it comes up as a fear for me, is because generations to generation, as a black young African woman, marriage has always been something that is truly valued in our families. And the dynamic of marriage in our families, the dynamic of a woman and wealth in our families has always been that you will marry this man who will be a provider and you are to support and nurture him and your kids. You come in as the helper, right? Our great-grandmothers, our grand-grandmothers, our grandmothers, our parents, even our own mothers, the ones who are still existing today, one generation to the next, inherited this form of thinking, inherited this form of belief, inherited it as a template that for you as a woman, when it comes to making money, it will be through you nurturing this man and the children that he brings and knowing that he is the one who provides. And if you are to have wealth, most of the time, it will be through inheritance, not so much of what you did, right? This is an event that happened in my lineage where women were married and they never got to explore their gifts, and they actually relied on who I would be my great-grandfathers and my grandfathers to be the ones who bring in the wealth. Now, that event, I am currently feeling the impact of that event. Hence, generational trauma. The event occurred and has been occurring in my lineage. Right now, although I am not married, although I am not relying on a man to currently provide for me, I am feeling the impact of it. And it's coming up as a fear. And when it comes up as a fear, I have that if I'm to make money, I will not have this partner that I truly desire. My soulmate may not come to me or may not find me if I actually provide for myself. It then holds me back, or it acts as an interference in me creating wealth. Right? Yes, that's the truth. Right? So the event has occurred, but I'm the one who's feeling the impact of that event because it feels like I will be doing something different. Something that is not considered normal. So if a woman changes the role, I as a woman, if I'm to change the role of the helper and become my own provider, where will the man come from? Right? So hence why I said, I want you to explore right now. Go to a timeline where you've actually created money in abundance and wealth. And see what comes up for you. Besides the excitement, what are some of the fears that come up for you? That's generational trauma. Right? Because through this trauma, we get to have an understanding and we get to learn how to actually cope with the mechanisms and the dynamics of what is happening. The easiest way to notice a generational trauma in terms of wealth that is occurring in your family is to notice the bloodline patterns. Notice what has repeated over and over again, and you find that it is repeating even for you. Okay, so that's another way of exploring or easily noticing the trauma that is taking place in your family. And that is influencing your business right now and how you are creating money. And this could help you see what is actually holding you back from actually creating that money. Right? So explore, how is this showing up in my family? A lot of our families, for example, have experienced debt, right? This is where debt was normalized from one generation to the next. And even now, currently, you might find that even as you're trying to do business, it's like sometimes you are pulled into exploring the option of maybe creating debt if you are already not in debt. Or it will look like you most of the time needing to use your credit cards and be on credit, your business requiring a lot of credit. Because I want you to realize this. Just because your lineage, most of the people in your lineage were 8 to 5 people, right? And you are currently doing a business. Sure, you may have broken the pattern of how you are creating money, right? Because that's another thing, how you are acquiring money. But just because you are not doing the 8 to 5 and you are currently just doing the business, it does not mean that you will not experience the same financial patterns they created. They have experienced, that are moving through the bloodline, that are in the family. They don't get to skip you just because you are in business, you know? So if debt is something that occurs in your lineage, then even in your business, you might find that you get easily pulled into debt because of that, right? If financial stagnancy is something that most of your family members are struggling with, there's a high chance that even you as well, as you create this wealth, as you create money in your business, there's a pull There's a force that keeps you stagnant as well, right? Some people experience the fear that I will be isolated, I will lose my loved ones as soon as I have money, right? This could relate to the example I gave before, where wealth in your family actually led to your family members dividing, there being a lot of conflicts. So right now, for you, when you think of creating money in your business and actually creating the wealth that you are here for, there can be that deep fear that I will lose the people that I love, because they will not be able to cope with the fact that I am doing greater things, and I may be isolated, or there may be more family conflicts, and this is because of something that you have witnessed or others have witnessed in your family. You have to understand that our psychology, we work so much with reference, right? What we have witnessed or what we keep seeing, the mind will want to keep seeing that. It's a form of survival. The mind feels it's only possible. What is only possible is what it has seen, or what has occurred multiple times, and it feels like, sure, this is true, this could happen. So if in your lineage money abundance has not been so much of a struggle, you have seen people being able to make money and be successful, you can be easily tap into that, and actually have money, right? But if it's something that you saw, but there were conflicts, family being divided, divorce occurring, you might actually also still have the fear that if I have money, what if divorce is a thing that could happen, right? So we are constantly being pulled into this energy of the generational trauma. Why is that the case? Because we share the DNA of this lineage. We may be individuals. However, there is what connects us to our bloodlines, to our lineages. Come on, look, if you can look like your grandmother, if you can look like your grandfather, if you can look like your mom physically, what makes you think that when it comes to other issues, there's no way the pattern can replicate itself? It will, right? Unless you break the pattern yourself. So what connects us is at a DNA level, but we also tend to energetically or spiritually connect to the events that have happened in our lineages, in our bloodline. Hence why then we will have this deep-seated fear that holds us back from actually manifesting the wealth that we deeply desire in our businesses and with our money, right? Think of this as our way of being loyal to our lineage. It's a sacred contract. It's a form of sacred contract that we have with this lineage, that you are my people, I am for you, you are for me, So being born into this lineage, even though you may have not been here when the events occurred, you may still feel the impact of those of those events. And that is what, especially us as women, we are currently struggling with. Collective trauma or generational trauma means that you are also part of it. And if you don't do the inner work, you will also keep repeating these form of patterns, right? Yeah. So we talked about you going to the timeline where you actually have the money and the assets and the wealth and your business is doing well. Go to that timeline and see what comes up for you beneath the excitement and it being beautiful. What is the deep-seated fear that comes up for you? When you recognize that fear, link it to what is currently happening in your bloodline. You want to look at both the mother's bloodline and the father's bloodline because they may have different patterns of how wealth has been experienced or money has been experienced in those lineages, whether it's your mother's bloodline or your father's bloodline. Particularly your father's bloodline, look deeper into those patterns because the father's bloodline is more attuned to money as a masculine. Okay, not to say that your money will not be influenced by your mother, but when we think money, we think masculine, we think provision, and the person that mostly we associate provision with is the man. I just told you about the fear I have, right? It's the man. So the father's bloodline, their patterns and how they relate to money also will influence, your current experience with money. Ask anyone, who's having money issues. Look into that bloodline. Sometimes it can be, my father abandoned me. Women who have been abandoned by their fathers tend to feel like even money will abandon me. It can come up as that. The event that occurred, as in the father leaving, although it's not related to money, currently can play out as you feel like that means even money will leave me, wealth will leave me, right? So trauma is tricky in the sense that it's not so much about the money. However, the impact of it may still play out in your money or in your wealth. Yeah, so look into that. Look into the bloodlines, what is happening currently in your mother-father bloodline, and see the patterns that are coming up. This will really help you take the weight off of thinking that, oh my God, it's always easy sometimes to say, I'm doing something wrong. There's something wrong with me. Why am I not succeeding? Why am I not making the money yet? Okay, I'm not shifting. I'm not saying don't be accountable. But when you have a deeper understanding of what is going on, when you are truly aware of what is happening, actually you can be in a better position to heal that and to really become aware and shift your experiences when you have a broader picture, right? So in as much as, yes, there is where you can play the role of, doing 1, 2, 3, your business strategy and yada yada yada, there's also where where you get to realize that what patterns are playing out in my bloodline, and I'm also seeing them in my business and with my money, right? Yeah, because definitely this didn't start with you, and in recognizing that, you can go easy on yourself but also be more empowered to do something about it and to know exactly where to go to unplug from this and heal from this trauma. I hope this was really helpful. I hope this was really helpful. It was just an intro of how generational trauma is affecting us as the current generation, is affecting our money, our businesses, for you especially as a woman who is building wealth, It is a multi-layered and very broad topic, but I hope just for today you were able to pick 1 or 2 things that can truly help you in recognizing some of the spiritual issues that are happening with your money, or the energetical issues that need work, in order for you to truly get to be able to feel worthy of having the money, and have actually learned to have it and be okay with receiving it, be okay with creating and having money. It's a journey that will all have different experiences depending on what has happened in our bloodlines, in our generations before, right? But at the end of the day, you have the power to shift from those patterns. I was not saying this for you to feel powerless, but your power is in realizing that, oh, okay, I see this. So how do I break away, from this pattern? How do I shift from this pattern? How do I heal this pattern? So that one day, lineages to come, when they speak about generational wealth, it gets to be something that they're actually experiencing and having, because decades back someone did the work, and that's what you're here for, truly, to do the work, to enjoy and to have a different story, so that lineages later, they can have the wealth that we truly want, Yeah, so I think, that's about it. Go sit with the questions that came up. Let me know, inbox me, let me know what came up. Let me know the revelations and the wisdom that you got to have in this session. I'll be seeing you next week. What are we doing next week? I think we're going to be exploring generational beliefs, right? It's still related to generational wealth. Yes. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.